Welcome. This will be Evola on the right to suicide. These will be Julius Vola's thoughts concerning the right to one's own life from a traditionalist perspective. It should be added that from the perspective of traditionalism there's different kinds of peoples. And Evola writes that this is for the differentiated person, not for the average Joe. Don't take this video as a promotion of suicide, but just as an interesting video on the subject. Taken from Evola's wonderful writings that can be read in his book Ride the Tiger. At this point, we shall briefly turn our attention to a particular problem, the right over one's own life, understood as the freedom to accept it or to put an end to it voluntarily. Suicide, condemned by most moralities with social and religious foundations, has in fact been permitted by two doctrines whose norms of life are not far from those indicated for the differentiated man in the present epoch: Stoicism and Buddhism. One can refer to the ideas of Seneca regarding Stoicism, recalling above all the general background of its vision of life. I have already said that for Seneca the true man would be above the gods themselves, because they, by their very nature, do not know adversity or misfortune, whereas he is exposed to them, but has the power to triumph over them. Moreover, Seneca sees the beings that are most harshly tested as the worthiest, recalling this analogy: in war it is the most capable, sure, and qualified persons that leaders entrust with the most exposed positions and the hardest tasks. Usually it is this virile and agnostic conception that applies when suicide is condemned and stigmatized as cowardice and desertion. There is a saying attributed by Cicero to the Pythagoreans: to leave the place that one is assigned in life is not permitted without an order from the leader, who is God. Instead, Seneca reaches the opposite conclusion, and put the justification of suicide directly into the mouth of the divinity, de providentia. He makes the divinity say that he has given the superior man, the sage, not only a force stronger than any contingency, and something more than being exempt from evils, namely the power to triumph over them interiorly, but has also ensured that no one can hold him back against his will. The path to exit is open to him, patet exitus. Wherever you do not want to fight, it is always possible to retreat. You have been given nothing easier than death. Given the presumptions mentioned earlier with the regard to the general vision of life, there is no doubt that Seneca did not intend this decision to refer to cases in which death is sought, because a given situation appears unbearable. Especially then, one could not permit oneself the act. Here too it is necessary to add what is equally valid for all those who are driven to cut their life short due to emotional and impassioned motives, because this would be equivalent to recognizing one's own passivity and impotence toward the irrational part of one's soul. The same is even true for cases in which social motives intervene. Both the ideal Stoic type and the differentiated man do not permit those motives to intimately touch them, as their dignity were injured by what binds them to social life. They would never be driven to put an end to their own existence for these motives, which are included by the Stoics in the category of that which does not depend on me. The only exception we can consider is the case of a disgrace, not before others whose judgment and contempt one cannot bear, but before oneself, because of one's own downfall. Considering all this, Seneca's maxim can only have the meaning of an enhancement of the inner freedom of a superior being. It is not a matter of retreating because one does not feel strong enough before such ordeals and circumstances. Rather, it is a matter of the sovereign right that one always keeps in reverse, to either accept them or not, and even to draw the line when one no longer sees a meaning in them, and after having sufficiently demonstrated to oneself the capacity to face them.